Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I have another layout using the June Roundabout Studio Calico kit, and I'm down to, just some scraps. And what I'm going to do on this one, for my challenge this week on my Facebook group, is to use shapes as your background. So this time around I'm just going to use different squares, I guess, and rectangle, and I'm going to create my own background. Now, one of my favorite papers of this month's kit was that blue chevron paper. I believe it was from Basic Gray. And I think it was Basic Gray. And Cut Pastel, I think it was what it was called. So I want to use that as my main, where I'm going to map my photos. Although you're not going to see a lot of it once everything is down. But I just absolutely love that paper, so I'm going to use that. And then right now I'm just fussing with different size and shapes of rectangles and squares just to fill up the space around my photos. So that's going to take a few minutes to kind of play with that. And this is the 16th layout using the Studio Calico Roundabout kit. And it took me an hour and 46 minutes to complete. And I don't really have any specific measurements for any of the squares. It's basically I'm just trying to find stuff just because I don't want all the squares to look exactly the same. So I'm just cutting them in different shapes and size. Some are too big and I'm going to shave them down or cut them down as I'm ready to put the page together. And then I have a piece of scrap that I had from Echo Park, and it's journaling paper, and I'm going to use that for where my title is going to go. So at this point, I know I have enough, rectangles to go around the page. So then I start actually cutting them down and trying to make them fit around that square. And I believe that square is about 6.5 by 6.5. So that's the biggest square on my page, and everything else is just little itty bitty scraps or, different sizes. So I don't really use my ruler. I just use a pencil and kind of guesstimate, like I want it to end there, and then I take the pencil and make the line and I cut it. And that other chevron, that was my other favorite paper, and the one right underneath that with the blue polka dots or blue and white polka dots and the flowers, that was my other. I had about 4 pattern papers that I really loved in this month's kit, and I have used every single one of them, the 2 sheets. And this is the first time that I use so much of the second sheets. And when I do the Killer Kit, I'll say how many of the second sheets that I also used. I use quite a bit for, backgrounds and that kind of stuff too. So it's basically like a puzzle. You're just trying to put your puzzle together. And I know I want to outline them, but I'd rather outline them once they're all glued down, just because right now I'm focusing on getting the squares all filled out, and I don't want to mess that up. I just want to get them done. And once everything is put down, then I'll outline them. And this is also a great way to use up those scraps, because none of these papers, except for the 6.5 by 6.5, which is my base, is big pieces of pattern paper. It's all little itty bitty scraps that I had, left over and was probably going to end up in the trash once I was done with the kit. And the next 2 pages from this one, I'm going to do another page just using scraps too. I'm going to try, this is page 16. I think I'd like to do maybe 21 pages before I move on to July. I'd like to be done. Today is Tuesday. I'd like to be done by this weekend. The end of the weekend, by Monday, I'd like to be done with this kit and start with the next one. And hopefully go through that kit a little bit faster than I did this kit. And I'm still fussing with all the different lengths and that I need. And then my photos, I want them to stand out on the paper a bit more. So I'm going to go through my stash, and actually it was cardstock that came with this month's kit, and it's a nice teal. And I'm going to mat the photos with it so that they stand out. And this one was a little too short. If it would have been just a little longer, I tried, or maybe I did use this one. I'm just trying to see. Yep, I did. I used that piece of scrap that I had, and I just kind of played with it and made sure that that was kind of hidden with the washi tape. So then I didn't have to cut a new sheet of cardstock. And that washi tape we got in a kit a few months ago, and it's a nice teal. So I'm going to put it in 3 different embellishments. And I was thinking of using the camera washi too and decided against it. So this is where I'm going to go through and outline every square. Again, just because there is so many different patterns on this page that I wanted to stand out next to each other. And these pictures are when we were in Quebec, next behind our cabin. There was these little bunnies that would come, and there was 3 or 4 different ones. There was this one here, and he looked like an Easter chocolate bunny, like he really did. And there was a white one and a black one. So this one came along, and I took a picture of him, and he just reminded me of a chocolate bunny at Easter. So that's going to be my title. It's going to be Chocolate Bunny. And at first I take out these basic gray white stickers, and I colored them with the Hero Arts Cup of Joe ink. And then I remembered my Kelly Perky letters, which are bigger. So I went on the hunt to find those, and I found them. So I'm going to use those instead because they're more proportionate to my thickers. They are called Hello, and they're fabric letter stickers, and I absolutely love them. And I'm going to spell the word bunny with that, and the word chocolate with the Kelly Perky letters, and I'm still going to color them in with the Hero Arts Cup of Joe ink, and they're daubers. And I'm going to set those aside so they have time to dry. And while they're drying, I'll work on the rest of the layout. So I did take out a few things. I wanted that frame because in this month's kit, we got a ton of frames. And I used a whole bunch already. But in that package of frames, there was so many. I think it was from Crate Paper, the Pier. There was just so many of them that, you know, I almost had to use one on every page in order to use them all. So what I decided to do was cut that frame in half and put half, you know, I'd say about a third of it to the left of the photo right there, and then 2/3 of it to the bottom right of the photo. And then I layered, it was a die cut that came in this month's kit, and I really don't like the die cuts, but I found one that was kind of a teal, so I just kind of put it in behind a doily so you can kind of see it peeking through. And then there was a little sheet, it was a die also that says My Kind of Happiness, and that's where I'm going to do my journaling. I took out a chipboard camera that came in this month's kit, and then that little blue flag thing, it says Proof of One Great Day, and I'm going to put that to the top left embellishment. So I'm trying to, you know, dig through my stash a little bit more, and not my stash, what I got from the kit, and try to use it up a little bit more. I mean, the letters that we got this month was pink, and what else is there? And little letters, black and white or black and gray. It just didn't go with this page whatsoever. So I'm not going to put something that's going to clash with my page, but anything that will fit the layout, I'm going to try and use it up so that at the end of the month I don't have all the stuff left over. So now I'm going to put the title right there, and then I notice that it's just up too much, like the title, and I have to bring it down, but then the washi tape's in the way and it doesn't look good. So I rip up the washi tape, and then I'm going to bring it down so that I can bring down my title so that it fits better on that journaling spot, and then I'm going to glue everything down. And I kind of jumped from one thing to another because things were moving around because a lot of stuff is not glued down. So this, I believe this is where I was having trouble with my glue, and this is where I discovered that the cover is just full of dried glue. So that you saw me with my We Are Memory Keepers tool, and I yanked it out, and ever since then it's not clogging up anymore. So there was one little die that said noted, and it had a teal and white, almost like a diagonal stripe on the bottom. And so I'm going to put that in the 3 areas or the 2 areas on the page. And then I'm going to finish gluing down my title. I'm going to put some quick dry adhesive in behind that little camera, and then I take out my favorite aqua or ribbon, or not ribbon, twine. This was from We Are Memory Keepers, and I'm going to put it in 3 spaces. And for a bit there, I'm going to take out my brown and white twine, and I try that because I want to try and bring a little bit of more brown than in just the title, but I don't like the brown and white twine, so I'm going to rip it all off, and I'm going to go back to the aqua. And what I'm going to do to bring in a little bit more brown is we got some, I guess before that, I'm going to add a few enamel dots, and we didn't get any enamel dots this month, so that I am still getting in from my stash. But we got these stars from Twine and Ink, Studio Calico, and I'm going to put them at each cluster so that it kind of brings in that brown from the chocolate bunnies. And then I'm going to cover my photos. I'm going to add some teal ink, and it's some glimmer glaze. And I believe I only added 1 color, or maybe I added some brown also. Yes, I did. I added some brown. And then I'm going to show you some close-ups. But if you want to see more close-ups, you can go to 2 Peas in a Bucket or Studio Calico or Pinterest. And Studio Calico and 2 Peas, it's Nicole Jones 911. My Facebook group, the link is down below. And that's also Nicole Jones 911, but I believe Pinterest is just Nicole Jones. And you can see some still and close-up pictures at all those 4 locations. And that's it. The page is done. So thanks for watching. Bye.